Welcome to another edition of the Kung Fu Corner, Martial Arts Self-Defense. This is Instructor Carlo. Welcome. So let's go ahead and get started today. Martial arts is about personal growth, and so I'm working on keeping more of an aligned posture, as well as just keeping my back straight and making sure that that I'm stable, and all these little quirks that we have to work on as we're improving. So let's go ahead and get started with the stretching. That's something I encourage you to do prior to training in general, right? So before you train, just always stretch. I don't stretch on the videos because we get right into it. That's something you can do on your own. These videos are just for educational purposes only. If you're not training in martial arts, these are not for you to learn. You need to go to a qualified instructor, and then you can add this into your piece as needed. Okay? So we're constantly working on things. We're constantly getting better. I like filming at this time because the sun is shining. Let's start off with a little bit of, if you don't have a resistance band or something like that, you can get one on Amazon, or go to your local sporting goods or whatever the case may be to obtain one. This just helps to loosen things up. And so, just holding on to the rock, working the forearms, those flexor, extensor muscles. Maintain your breathing. Lower. And serve it in different directions. I don't recommend lifting it over your head just in case something happens, right? So we'll lift it up and out. Okay, up and out. Bring it back to your hip, up and out. Now this isn't a traditional Kung Fu move. It's actually a posture that I created for myself, and what I notice is that I get stronger in the arms, but it also strengthens your arms in terms of delivering that uppercut. This strike here. Okay. Serve the rock. Okay, let's go ahead and bag a little bit. Do a good warm up, and then we'll work on our low stance punch, first stance punch. Right. Gong Bu. And that the pronunciation is not 100% correct. What I did miss is the tonnage. One thing I think is important is education. I don't speak fluent Mandarin. I have taken a trimester of Pinyin and understand a little bit of the simplified and traditional differences. And I think one thing we always miss are the tones. Right, so if you're learning about another language, you should learn one of the key concepts, and that's one of the things that I've always kept in memory, right? That I've always remembered when speaking is the tones. So, okay. Once again, let's go ahead and just practice and just get warmed up. Warm up is not about landing that main shot. And a lot of people, right, you might wonder why I don't always bring my arms back immediately, and I have an explanation for that. A lot of boxers will punch, bring it back, right? Now, the reason I don't do that is because punch is going to turn into something else. This is a punch. It can also be a grab. It can also be a block. Okay, so your punch doesn't always have to necessarily come back. It doesn't always have to be a punch. Also, I have the theory that everything should always be moving forward against the attacker, right? If anytime you're, it's good to maybe get your resetting occasionally, but anytime you're in the backwards position where you're backing up, right, that's not a good position, right? One, it shows fear, right, which is more of the mental aspect if you want to talk about that too. At least in the Kung Fu theory and training, you're always moving forward. This is another concept that I adapted from Adam Su, right? And phenomenal martial artist, and thank you for my friend recommending that. Right, so always moving forward, and from what I've seen and how I react and how I train, you should always be moving forward. Look for your punches, right? Because here's the thing: you have blocks, you have evades, you have feinting, right? There's 3 different things you can do besides just walking backwards. Walking backwards is just one. You're retreating, right? You can call it, right? Which is not bad. Let's not confuse walking away from a situation from this aspect, right? We're talking about in terms of technique here, right? You should always diffuse the situation. That's number 1. If you haven't seen previous videos, you should always diffuse the situation. And if you're walking backwards, you can always keep your eye on your attacker, 100%. But okay, let's go ahead and just train here. Let's go ahead and continue. Do some work on the back. I gotta do a little bit of, maybe fill it up with a little bit more water and sand. So why don't I kick with like the traditional roundhouse? Why don't I do that? Now I'll tell you, that's not a kick that I wanted to master. Okay, and even with martial arts, I think you should master all areas as much as possible. It's not my strong point. The hips opening up completely. That's why I was telling someone this. I am very interested in learning more about Taekwondo. Right? A lot of people have discarded these traditional martial arts, and it's like, come on, Taekwondo practitioners I see have some of the best flexibility when it comes down to kicking. And so, rather than discourage or discard a martial art, you need to learn what makes it unique and what makes it strong, and then try to learn that aspect. So it's part of the journey. So anyways, let's go ahead and continue here. So I like the straight kicks. I like the wushu kicks. So finish that. I like the wushu kicks, and that's what I train in. Right? That's how I prefer, they come up, it's the entire leg. A lot of people say there's no hip action. You always have hip action, especially there's no rotation of the hip 100%. It's more just when I say focus, it's the hip. You bring your focus to the hip, and this is the area that you mentally initiate the action. And then also, when you use the ground, you are actually pushing from the ground. You're using the ground for stability, and it's directing power into your target. So, again, warming up. Over the bag. Okay. Wrestler wants to get down low, right? It's coming in at you. You get down low and prepare. They're going to try to take this leg. My advice, if someone's going to take your leg, let them take your leg and prepare, right? Prepare to go down to the ground. Prepare for any kind of leg lock, ankle lock, right? And those are the 2 most important, right? Especially if they already have your leg. I just did a video recently about obtaining a body part, the body against one body part. Wrestlers do that all the time, okay? So it'd be hypocritical of me to say, if, they got your leg, you're screwed. You're not screwed, that's the power, right? So learning how to use your body, learning how to get advantage first is the key. Let's go. I drop down. Drop down level. Use the head. Right. It's big. Full of sand. Let's go. Okay, almost threw me off balance, right? Once again, I have a big ring. This is a 3x3 space, so you have to be able to utilize where you're at, what you have. Here. Here. Okay. Okay. Why do I like core stance punch, bow stance punch? Because it helps you to develop good basics, especially developing a 1-2. I've talked about developing a good 1-2. A lot of boxers have a good 1-2. You know, kind of predictable if you're going to go straight line. You have this open, blah, blah, blah. But it's okay. We develop that, right? Especially, again, a lot of boxers are going to be here. A lot of fighters will be up here, and even here, right, even at our bow stance punch, horse stance punch, we initially get down low. So we're on a different level. We're on a different plane. Adam Sue has an excellent book, right? And I really encourage every person who's studying martial arts to read that book so you can understand like what's the uniqueness and kind of the common base in Kung Fu. And utilize his experience, his training. I learned a lot about. I like to envision the body into 3 different planes, and you can attack each one. You know, with that, I've just utilized that and integrated in the teaching. Right, the way I teach and my style and what I integrate, I use the wushu for the kicks. I use the eagle claw for the striking and the chin na and the grappling, standing grappling. I use the Tai Chi for the movement and the standing grappling, right? And the chin na. And then I use the ground for the ground, right? The submission and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or wrestling or judo or, you know, whoever's teaching that day, right? So this is a great example in terms of, this is a good example, great example in terms of trying to utilize things. So, you know, I have different methods as well. My up downs are not a traditional Kung Fu exercise. Once again, this is an exercise I developed in order to help keep my back straight and to help squat, develop those squat muscles so you can keep your stances down. So if you're here, we're gonna just go, right? We get into our stance. We widen our stance. We're here. So here we stand up. Then we go down and come back up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then you can do them quicker, right? Goal is to build up speed eventually. Make sure your knees are doing well. Here. When you get into your eagle claw stance, your horse stance punch, bow stance punch, when you start the initial form, when you get into your initial eagle claw form, horse stance punch, bow stance punch is very important.